In January of 2022, one of the most horrific acts possible would take place behind a busy shopping plaza. While most shoppers were going about their daily lives, having only just celebrated the new year, a deranged mother was planning on committing a crime that most people will only ever hear about on television. Welcome to the channel, YouTube. My name is Blue, and I'm a police officer with over a decade of experience. I'd like to use that experience to take you through this horrific case today, as we delve into what drove this woman to commit such a terrible act. We'll also weigh in on the justice system, to see if justice was really served today. Sit back and relax as we delve into the case of Alexis Avila. Let's set the stage. Today's case brings us to Hobbs, New Mexico, to a local shopping plaza known as the Broadmoor Shopping Center. In the footage I'm about to show you, three unlikely heroes would wander into an incredibly heartbreaking situation. It's a cold night in Hobbs. Please keep in mind as we proceed that the average temperature for this time of year in Hobbs is a high of 57 and a low of 29. A group of three approach a bank of dumpsters in the rear alley of this plaza. They would later tell reporters that they were dumpster diving, trying to find some valuable items that had been thrown away by businesses that would just later be written off. But they discovered something much different today. As they approached, they would hear something that confused them at first, a cry coming from inside the dumpster. Initially, they thought it might have been a puppy or perhaps a kitten, but their blood ran cold as they realized that this was a baby crying. Thankfully, none of them hesitated, pulling the bag from the dumpster and tearing it open. One of the women in the group would take the child in her arms immediately, holding them close and trying to provide some warmth on such a cold night. Let's take a listen to the 911 call that came next.
911, where is your emergency? Hello, 911?
Yes, we just found a baby in the trash behind what is this, anything straight, the Hobbs, what is it called, hey, seriously, where are we at? The mall, Hobbs, Broadway. Behind, we're behind Hobbs Mall.
Okay, I'm showing you 1218 North
A
Third.
baby, we had just found an infant child.
Is it breathing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The middle of the mall, behind the mall, the Hobbs Buffet.
Okay. Is it closed?
Thornton Ute.
Does the baby have any clothes on?
Yes, it is making noise.
Okay, do you have a blanket?
It is a boy, and he is still alive, I believe. He looks pretty good.
Okay, do you have a blanket or something you can wrap him in?
Huh?
Do you have a blanket or something you can wrap him in?
Yes, ma'am, he was in a blanket.
Okay, can I have your name?
Absolutely heartbreaking. But we're also able to learn a few things from this. One is that the baby is on death's door. Keep in mind the temperatures of the night and look at the clothing of the people who found her. The group themselves even mentions the baby's dire condition. This poor child was tied up in not one, but two garbage bags. One man also says that this baby still has its umbilical cord attached. This child could not have been more fragile and unable to care for itself. But what kind of person would do this, and why? Shortly after a 911 call, police and fire rescue would arrive on scene. The baby was quickly transported to a local hospital, but due to the fact that this child was only a few hours old, and also considering the harsh environment it was left in, the decision was made to transfer the baby to a hospital in a neighboring county that had a better NICU unit. Per medical reports, this child was in such bad shape that it needed a blood transfusion, oxygen, and had to be placed on a feeding tube. When they initially evaluated the baby, the body temperature didn't even register, a sign that the baby was hypothermic. It really is a miracle that this child survived, a silver lining to an otherwise tragic story. But what happens now? Back on scene, the investigation begins as detectives arrive. Let's go over step 1. Talk to your only witnesses, the heroes that found the baby. Here, detectives can best establish what circumstances were behind the child's discovery. Detectives will ask questions like, When exactly did these people call 911? Did they do so immediately after finding the child, or did they wait a little while? What, if anything, did they notice about the child? As we mentioned earlier, they noted the coldness of the child and the visibly attached umbilical cord. But what about placement? The trio were able to point out the exact dumpster they found the baby in. Additionally, they also mentioned an important fact. They had to dig a little bit for her. That, coupled with the fact that the child was so cold, gives investigators a rough timeline of how long the child has likely been in the dumpster. So that leads us to step 2. Detectives begin to look for one of police work's greatest investigative aids, security cameras. Fortunately, a shopping plaza is normally loaded with them, and this one is no different. At the rear of Rig Outfitters and Home Store, officers see several cameras, one of which appears to point directly at the dumpsters. Police meet with the store owner, who grants them access to the cameras. Believe it or not, even in cases like this, there are people who outright refuse to help us by letting us review surveillance cameras. In those cases, we have no choice but to get a warrant and seize the cameras, if the crime warrants it. Fortunately, that wasn't necessary here. So what do officers see? Well, they have to go back and watch just under 6 hours of footage. But it's a dumpster, you're probably thinking. There's got to be dozens of people who threw out garbage, especially behind a busy shopping plaza, right? That's correct. The majority of people who go back there are wearing uniforms or carrying garbage out on a cart, things like that you would expect if they worked there. But investigators finally find someone that stands out. A woman drives up to the dumpster in what appears to be a white Volkswagen Jetta. She gets out of her car and removes a black garbage bag from the rear passenger seat. She is then seen callously throwing this bag into the dumpster before getting back into her car and driving away. That's the key. This isn't a worker or an employee. This at least appears to be different. And what's more is that the cameras were able to give officers a legible picture of the license plate. A quick check of the registered owner leads them to a local address. Officers and detectives would quickly respond to the address and met with the mother of the suspect. The mother was informed about what they were investigating and claimed that her daughter had not been pregnant, at least to her knowledge. They eventually met with Alexis, who investigators immediately recognized as the woman on camera. She was then requested to come to the station to speak with investigators, which she agreed to do. Let's take a look at some of that footage and hear what she had to say in her own words.
And then I put it in the bag. I took it to the car. When I was in the car, I had 2 trash bags. Okay. I took one with me, which is the one that I had, and then I put it again, and then I drove around and I didn't know what to do, and I just put it in there.
Where did you go?
What do you mean?
Where did you drive to?
JCPenney's. I was in that area. I live in that area.
Mm-hmm. So where did you throw the garbage bag?
In the trash.
In the trash? Okay, did you lock it up, seal it up?
With the hair tie.
I'm sorry?
With the hair tie.
With the hair tie?
But I don't even think it stuck because it was broke.
Okay. So
we're on the verge of breaking.
Okay, were you by yourself in the car?
I was by myself the whole time.
Okay. You never notified anybody?
No.
Okay. So you grabbed your hair tie and just wrapped it around the bag? Both bags? Or?
No. Just, well, I guess, yeah.
What color was the bag?
Black.
The black bag. So you put the hair tie around the black bag?
Now initially, I know that some of you may be feeling pity or sympathy for her. She was just 18 years old, scared, and didn't even know she was pregnant. She panicked. Now all those things are likely true, but that does not excuse her actions of dumping her own child in the trash like literal garbage. Remember, most states have an initiative where you can leave your child if they're under 90 days old.